Good morning. How y'all doing on today? Okay. Yeah, this video ain't gonna be long. It was just real quick, but I told you God always send confirmation. I always send confirmation. So today I'm just like strolling through my news feed on my phone, and I see where they saying in the city of Memphis, you could buy you a utility truck or a bulldozer. Like they specifically stating bulldozers and utility trucks. And I told y'all that was the first thing I seen in my vision was a utility truck ramming into a bulldozer while the bulldozer was in the street. And I told you in the dream, the angel was also saying everything I was seeing was fin to happen. So that little article, yeah, I was took on the inside. I was like, God, utility trucks and bulldozers. You got me speaking on utility trucks and bulldozers. Then I get an article where they actually talking about it. And when that article started out, it's like if you ever dreamed of wanting a utility truck, I'm like, well, I've been dreaming about them, but I don't think I want one. So yeah, God be funny. But that's what I saw. Utility trucks and bulldozers. Then I see an article talking about Misfits start selling them. Y'all better go get one. Yeah. So I'm tickled about that right there. Tickled about seeing it. Cause I just say what I see. No matter how crazy, how unrealistic it is, everything gonna happen. Everything word for word is gonna happen. And then I'm getting confirmation while I'm looking at this stuff, trying to make some logic out of this stuff. I'm getting confirmation like everything you seeing happening. So I'm like, what am I seeing right now? You telling me all this finna be going on? So yeah, so I was just speaking, saying hey, and I was tickled about that article. That article, which was to me like a confirmation, because it's speaking specifically about utility trucks and bulldozers, y'all. Yeah, and I had a vision. I don't get too deep into it, but I had several encounters with Jesus, and one of the encounters with Jesus, this was before COVID. I'm talking about the second encounter. Not too much, not too deep, but the second encounter with Jesus. I had a visit, and it was before COVID. And when he came to me, he told me that he said, because I'm trying to think word for word. I can't think word for word, so I'm paraphrasing this in the action. But in so many words, he said he been visiting the earth, wearing his best and wearing his worst. And he said he did not like how he was treated. He said he did not like how he was treated. So that's what he was talking to me about in the dream. And this is before COVID-19. And in this particular vision, while he was talking to me, he was telling me about personal stuff too, but while he was telling me about how people been treating him when he wore his best and when he wore his worst, how people just treated him, yeah, he wasn't too happy about it. I could feel all kind of emotions all at once going on. Like I could feel sadness, disappointment, anger. Like it was just a whole lot of emotions all at once. That's what I was feeling during this encounter. And also during the encounter, it was this huge eagle. This eagle was so huge. And while he was talking to me, he was, how you pet a dog? He was petting the head of this eagle. And this eagle was enormous. It was enormous. It was so big. Like the size and the head of this eagle. I can't even describe it. I can't even put words in it. So while me and him talking, it's this huge eagle. And he just petting the eagle, talking to me about how he been coming to the earth, visiting the earth and stuff like that, and how he did not like how people was treating him, like he's doing all this in the dream. And at the end of this dream, he come and he tell me that he's going, like at the end of this second encounter, he come to me at the end of this second encounter, y'all. Yeah. He come and he tell me that he's going to visit me again. And he said, I just want you to write down what you see. That's all he told me he wanted me to do during this third encounter. So the third encounter hasn't happened yet. And every time I've had an encounter with Jesus, he's always announced he's coming. He's never showed up unexpected. Never. And everybody might be different, but for me, he always make an announcement he gonna come before he come. And that's the scariest feeling of my life. That's so scary. Somebody telling you they gonna come visit you. Woo! Every time he tell me that, I get scared. Like it be a spirit of fear come on me immediately. My first encounter, I told you, I was like in my teens. Like I could have been like maybe 18, 20. And I was with my best friend who's also prophetic. And back during that time, we was like smoking weed. And when we was smoking weed, my best friend, who was a guy, me and him, we just sitting smoking weed. Then boom, he just went in this trance and he grabbed me and he was like, Jesus gonna come visit you. Jesus, he gonna come visit you. Like he gave me the whole rundown of everything that's gonna go on while I'm under the influence. So I'm paranoid, I'm spooked, I'm scared. Like that was like, woo, I'm like, I do not want to be hearing all this right now. But that what happened during the first encounter, and it was an announcement. Like he was announcing, you're gonna have a visit from Jesus, and this is like under the influence of just smoking weed. That's how he was coming. And when he grabbed me, even though it wasn't like he didn't grab me like forcefully, my whole body was paralyzed. Like when he grabbed my arm, it was like I could not get away. It was like I had to sit there and listen. And he was like, "Yeah, Jesus, he gonna come to your room and he gonna come visit you. He come to see you." And when he did that, he broke out of his trance, and I don't think he remembered nothing that he said or did. Yeah, so it was so scary. Shoot, then you smoking marijuana. So you smoking marijuana, and then all that stuff going on, and then, yeah. So, yeah, shoot. So after that incident, I was scared. Like, I didn't want to sleep in my room. Like, he told me God was going to come visit me in my room. So, I was trying to avoid going in my room. I would always sleep on the couch downstairs in the living room with the lights on. And then eventually that fear wore off. And I was like back in my room, sleeping in my room. And it took years. Like, what he was talking kind of years later. Like, it wasn't no immediate, okay, Jesus going to come visit you. And then I go to sleep that night and then boom, Jesus in my room. Now, this some years later. He popped up. And so that was my first encounter. It wasn't no bad encounter. It was just personal or whatever. And during that time, in his presence, all I could do, and it's telepathic, but all I could do was talk about everything I ever did wrong. I was like, dog, I hope he don't bring this up. I hope he don't bring that up. Oh, I remember when I did this when I was 5 years old. Oh, I remember I did this when I was 10. Like, every single thing I ever did, I spoke telepathically, so he heard everything going on, and I could not cut that switch off, y'all. Everything I ever did wrong, all I kept saying is, oh, I hope he don't talk about this. Oh, I hope he don't bring up that. Oh, I hope that, like that. Everything I ever thought I ever did wrong popped up, and I could not stop myself from not speaking on every single thing I did wrong. And in the dream, he never brought up nothing I did. So the whole time, I'm like, beating myself down about all this stuff I done did from 5 years old. I remember when I was 6 years old and I took my sister Barbie doll, like everything. And he not one time brought up not one thing I ever did wrong. So at that point, that's when at my point with my own encounter, through my own experience, through my own relationship, I realized that what the church was teaching me about him was way different than who he actually was. It was like indoctrination. So at that point in my life, my mindset toward the whole church changed. Because the whole church tried to condemn you for sin and condemn you and put you down and belittle you. But your experience with God is way different than what they're trying to instill in you, which is through a fear. They instill all this stuff through fear, through your emotions. They play on your emotions. They doing all this stuff, to try to make you do what they want you to do, whatever that may be. So that's why I got to the point where I built my own relationship with God, the do's and the don'ts based on my relationship, because everybody's different. And that's how I started living at that point. But that's when I realized that what I had been taught all the way up to that point in my life was only an indoctrination of who Jesus really was and what the church and what he represented. I was like, oh, they just using the church to try to conform people to do what they want them to do, not what God generally expects out of people. There is a form of manipulation, like witchcraft. So that's when I realized that. So I'm not finna get too deep into that, but I did speak on it because that was like to place emphasis on the fact that every time I've had an encounter with Jesus, it's been an announcement made. And every time that announcement made, a spirit of fear just come on me at that point. I be like, God, I'd just rather you pull down on me. I'd rather you just show up unexpected one day in my room. But for you to tell me you coming, and for me to know in my mind that any day you can come, that's a scary feeling. Every time. The fear always go away, but every time he do me like that, y'all, it just be a spirit of fear on me. I just get scared. So that was the first encounter that I had, actually. And I was told while I was under the influence, while I was high, I'm finna have a visit from Jesus. And that was one of the scariest, God really taught me a lesson. Well, he ain't really teach me a lesson, because the next day I'm like, ooh, that's smoke. But I was like scared out of my mind during that time. I was like, woo. All that was scary. Then you under the influence. So you be under the influence, then you experience all that firsthand. Yeah, that was some scary stuff. You paranoid, you got all this, You paranoid time too. So you already paranoid now. You really paranoid. So that what happened the first time. And the first time I had that encounter, like I said, it was an announcement made. My best friend, me and him, we just kicking it, smoking or whatever. Then he just like a trance or something just came on him. When he grabbed my arm, my whole body was like paralysis. Like I could not move. I could not get away. I had to sit there and listen. So I'm like still trying to move. And he like, yo, Jesus, he's going to come to you. He's going to visit you. And, he's giving me like this revelation of my encounter and what to expect when Jesus come visit me. So that did happen, but that happened years later. So at the end of that, when he was talking about them people, at the end of that, because I had two different encounters. So that what happened the first encounter. So then I had a second encounter, and it was an announcement made. Like I'm saying, I'm trying to think back. I can't remember the second encounter and the announcement, but it's always been some kind of announcement made before he actually show up. Always. I remember that right there where I was telling y'all the first time about I don't want to confuse y'all. So when I had the second encounter with Jesus, at the end of that second encounter, after he was talking about how he didn't like how the people was treating him. He said, I come wearing my best, I come wearing my worst. He said, I just don't like how I've been treated. Like, that's what he said. And at the end of that encounter, he said, I'm going to come visit you. And I want you to write down what you see. That ain't happened yet. That third encounter has not happened yet. But guess what? I was scared out of my mind when he came to talk. At the end of it, the whole time he's present, it's like, okay, cool. But at the end of when he talking and giving me direction and telling me what's going to happen and what he want me to do, I was scared out of my mind again. So I'm in the house with the lights on. I got my dogs in the bed with me. My kids got to sleep with me at night. The fear eventually wore down, but for some reason, it be like a spirit of fear come on you. And if you read in the Bible where they talk about the angels, the first thing that the angels speak to the encounter, through the encounters where he had with the people, was do not fear. Every single angel, the first words they say is do not fear. When they came to Mary, when they came to Sarah, do not fear, do not fear. It's this type of fear that come on you. So that's what happened with me. The third encounter that he had has not occurred yet. I think he's getting me ready for me to record what I see, in so many words, because like the type of stuff I see, like doing that third encounter, doing the second, the third ain't happened yet, y'all, but doing the second encounter where he was petting the lion. I'm not the lion, petting the eagle. He petting the eagle, talking to me, and the eagle was real calm, and it was just like just standing. It was just like just there. Like his wings weren't out, so I don't know how big this eagle was. I'm just looking at the size of this eagle head. The eagle head was so big. Yeah, it was way bigger than me. The head of this eagle was bigger than my body. So when he was petting me, it was something that he said, and to me, logically, it didn't make no sense. So for me, I'm just like repeating what I say, and even though it didn't make sense, I still repeated what I said because that's what I saw, and I think that was part of the test too, because I was like, dog, why I got to say this and this don't even make sense? Like I was even saying it, I was like, that's what I saw, but why was this even in the revelation? That's why I kept asking. Like, why was this piece, little small piece in this revelation that I got to give, which throw off the whole revelation to a degree? That's what I was saying. And later on it came back that, you know, like it was like a test to see if you was gonna include that little piece or not include it. I always include it because I saw it. So I'm like, well, I seen it, so let me go and speak what I see, because, you know, once I see it with my eyes, it's nothing you could say to sway me either way, you know. So I would always add that part in there. And it didn't make no sense. So I guess the stuff I'm be seeing, you know, it's probably, you know, I'm just like trying to come up with my own theory dealing with that. He ain't came back and told me nothing dealing with that. I ain't had the third encounter yet. But some of the stuff I be seeing in my dreams and stuff, it may not make sense, but I still speaking, knowing it don't make no sense. When I was speaking on them bulldozers and the utility trucks, it didn't make no sense, but I still was speaking on it. Then I get this article speaking on utilities and bulldozers. Utility trucks and bulldozers. Yeah. So, in so many words, you know, in the physical, what I'm seeing or what God might have me writing down, or just anyway. Like, even though it don't make no sense, you know, don't try to understand the ways of God, you know, because God's ways is different from ours. His understanding is different from our understanding at the end of the day. So that's what I do. So if he show me something, I don't care how crazy it is. I don't care how crazy it look. I don't care how crazy it sound. I'm speaking what I see. And I'm trying to, like, take it in and try to process it to make some sense. You know, try to speak in a way where, you know, I can get some type of understanding in it. But even then, God not going to give me the full understanding. Growing up, my best friend, the guy who used to, you know, we smoke weed and stuff, he had to give a translation, so I didn't have to go through nothing to get the answers to none of my dreams. Like, I had to give a prophecy, he had to give a translation, so it was just like, yeah, I had this dream. I had, like, every day, all day, I was having all these dreams, and I would like, run to him, like, look, I got this dream, so he would be like, oh, you know, he'll still do it, but he just felt like it was draining him out because I was having so many dreams that needed to be interpreted. Yeah, he went off and started doing, like, ministry work and started doing stuff like that back then. He got into the ministry. Like, he got deep into evangelizing, like, traveling to other countries and stuff and witnessing the people. And he always tried to get me to get into that. But I kind of strayed and went toward the family route. And I started having kids and, you know, just having kids. Yeah, y'all. I got 5. God took 1. I had 6. So he went toward that direction. I went toward that direction, just expanding my family. I done had, 6 kids now. All girls, no boys. Thoughts going in my head when I'm talking to y'all. So when I'm talking to y'all, something in my head is just telling me these jokes about all this. That's why I'm laughing. So yeah, so I'm gonna talk to y'all later. I was just getting y'all the rundown, and I really was like super tickled when I saw this article, and it specifically spoke on utility trucks and bulldozers. But what I saw is still gonna come. Like, whatever was associated with what I saw with the shaking of the earth, the shaking of Memphis, the shaking, the earthquake, whatever this shaking supposed to be, all of that is still gonna happen. And my visions have a lot of different meanings at a lot of different levels. Like, it's on a personal level, then it could be on the level of just us as a nation as a whole. Then it could be on the level of, yeah, so it's like, it's levels to it. It's like, it's levels to it, and all the levels will be accurate and complement and actually occur, believe it or not. So, yeah. Just like even that clickbait dream, I can break that down so many different ways. And all of it gonna make sense, and all of it gonna be truth, and all of it gonna happen. Now, the kangaroo dream, God showed out with that revelation right there. Because I broke that down all the way down. I mean, I was talking about traffic court. I was talking about the court system. And this is before they started talking about that. All the laws. You know, I was talking about all these laws. I said this kangaroo was dealing with laws, with courts. Ain't no way I knew all this stuff. This stuff came straight from God. Ain't no way I could have got that revelation from a kangaroo sitting in the street. All this stuff that I was saying, it's no way I could have came up with how to piece all that together. Of me, just because I seen the kangaroo in the street, or just because I seen the kangaroo in the hospital. They all came from God right there. And so yeah, I'm gonna talk to y'all later. Enjoy y'all day. Get your water. Get your water, get your water. And yeah, I'm extremely tickled. I'm like extremely tickled about utility trucks and bulldozers. And when I go back to my last vision, or the vision where I'm actually talking about that stuff, it's utility trucks and bulldozers, y'all. Yeah, utility trucks and bulldozers.